I think for a time, exploring motherhood as the it role and freaking diving into it, if that's your calling, is tremendous and beautiful and amazing. And that role will end.
Yes.
And there's more to every woman that is also a mother than being a mother.
Step right up, folks. You're now entering It's a Circus, where parenting isn't always a show stopping act, but it's certainly entertaining. I'm your host, Elsa, here to prove that no one really knows what they're doing, and that's perfectly fine. Let's have some real conversations, peel back the layers, and remind you that you're never alone in the madness. Let's get the show rolling. Okay, I cannot wait to get into this episode for a lot of reasons. But with Mila, it's a special one because she is family through marriage. So for 13 plus years, we have been celebrating family events. I have been casually chatting with her and seeing us through career changes and life changes and all that kind of stuff. But what makes this podcast so exciting is that we get to dive deep. And this is one of those opportunities where I got to dive deep, and not only did I know it was going to be a great conversation, but I got to learn so many layered different things that, I never knew about her. And not only have I found this inspiring, I know for a fact you will too. She talks about her birth story, doing in vitro about 15 years ago. She's now talking about being a teenage mother and what that is like and what kind of shifts has happened. And then really chatting through her midlife journey. This is a different time for her, and she's really tackling it and entering this midlife moment with doing a fitness competition, which I think is incredible, all at the young age of 48. And so she really is talking about how this is spurring her moment. It's not really just a physical transformation, it's really an inside job, and how this has really symbolized what that rebirth is going to look like into the back half of the year, which is just inspiring as I feel I am also approaching that moment in time. And that leads us right into her bio. So Mila is a midlife mindset coach dedicated to showing women that the second half of life can be the most vibrant and meaningful chapter yet. As a former corporate leader and entrepreneur, she understands what it's like to navigate big transitions and the daily circus of life. Now, as a certified coach in both the Stephen Kotler's Flow methodology and the Shirdad Kami's PQ positive intelligence model, she helps women move from feeling stuck and overwhelmed to living with excitement, ease, and flow. Mila empowers her clients to master their minds and emotions, shedding the mental clutter that holds them back so that they can curate a life with purpose and passion that is truly their own. And it is so good. And you will see some examples of that as you move through this episode. Work with her, follow her, all really exciting things to come from her. So without further ado, here's Mila. Hello, Mila. Welcome to It's a Circus podcast. I would love for you to give us your mamahood stats. So like kiddos, how old are they, all that good thing.
Sure. It's so good to be here.
Good.
I just have one kid. I have a
Yeah.
daughter. She's 15, and her name is Maya.
Oh, I love Maya. Well, we are family, which is very exciting. And I'm excited to dive into this conversation because what I've been noticing as I talk to friends and, family members and close people, it's like the more you dive into it, the bigger the onion gets, and there's so many layers that I have no idea about. So I'm so excited to dive in. So talk to us about, are you somebody that has always wanted to have a child? And what was that process of kind of becoming that mother?
So that's very interesting because the answer is no.
Yeah.
I never really had this dream about being a wife and a mother and having a family. I don't know what I envisioned, but it just was never like dreams of,
Yeah.
motherhood.
Okay. Yeah.
I did as a kid have like, oh, if I were to be a mother,
Mm-hmm.
a parent, this is what I would or wouldn't do. But it
Mm-hmm.
was not like dreamy state. I was
Right.
meant to be.
No, I love that. You're like, yes, I know what I will do or won't do if that happens for me. Yes, I understand those feelings. I love that.
Oh, but
Okay.
now I would say,
Mm-hmm.
and probably you're going to dive into it now, is I am in love with the role of
Mm-hmm.
being a mom. Love
Mm-hmm.
it. I absolutely adore everything about it.
Mm-hmm.
And becoming a mother it wasn't easy for my husband and I to get pregnant, so I can share that too.
Yeah. Can you dive into that?
Yeah, so we were married for 7 years
Mm-hmm.
before we had Maya. And about 5 years into
Wow.
our marriage, we decided that we wanted to have kids. And we knew we got married at 24 and 25.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the older woman. Um,
Likewise.
it's the best.
It's the best.
And we wanted to, finish school, travel, and just have fun together.
Mm-hmm.
We have an amazing friendship, and we just wanted to have that. And then
Mm-hmm.
5 years into it, we were like, okay, we're ready. And we've been protecting like everyone does, and all of a sudden it didn't happen.
Okay.
In the beginning, they tell you to try for a year, I think, before
Mm-hmm.
you start ringing alarm bells and whatnot. And we did, and then it didn't happen then. And we did all the right things, and it didn't happen. Anyway, long story short, 3 years later, I was pregnant in vitro.
Okay. I love that. So 3 years. So you're going in, they're telling you you can try, you can try, you can try. How was it the doctor that suggested kind of going up a level, or was it you guys?
I don't remember exactly. I think it was just kind of a natural
Yeah.
progression. You try the thing that they tell you
Mm-hmm.
to try, and then it doesn't work. And you're like, well, do I still want to have children? Yes. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
what's the next thing? And then what does my insurance cover?
Of course.
And
Yeah.
I remember going through it and being like, it's very expensive. And
Yeah.
like, if you can't afford it, I think we ended up, and this, I'm not sure if this is true or not, but it was like out of pocket, like $15,000 or
Wow.
something to have a child. So,
Wow. Yeah.
yeah, my husband will probably have exact numbers, but I remember, so that's what it is. Yeah, and I remember being like, it's not fair. It's
Mm-hmm.
not fair to people who maybe can't afford it, but thank goodness we can.
Mm-hmm.
And we just kind of, progressed it. So there was like, there were steps that you go through. And then eventually it was the in vitro, which is where they take the semen or the sperm, and then they take the egg, and then they put it together outside of your body, and then they put it back into the female body,
Mm-hmm.
which I will tell you, I know for a lot of women it's very traumatic. It was not for me.
I love that.
I just kind of felt like it was just the process. We were just going through it. And even then, I felt like, well, if we don't get pregnant, then we don't get pregnant. We just continue our life without it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I have a very special documented moment of conception,
Mm-hmm.
because when they put the blastocyst, the embryo inside of me, my husband was next to me holding my hand.
Mm-hmm.
The doctor was doing his thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I could see it on screen. Like I could see my child, it was two actually embryos, get put inside my womb.
Wow.
And it was really awesome. It was just the whole focus was on conception.
Yeah.
It was really awesome,
Oh my gosh, that like
actually.
gives me goosebumps. Um, Incredible. So, you were trying for 3 years, and I have heard, different types of feelings that come up during that season where you're trying, where you're trying.
Yeah.
Can you talk about like how you felt during that time? How maybe you and your husband like communicated? Was there any like dip in the trying? Like, what was kind of that sense of feeling around those years?
Yeah, I don't remember being really I don't remember it being a traumatic thing.
Yeah.
We just kind of went to the clinic. We found the clinic. We were following their directions. We had really great communication. At first it was about the timing and measuring and timing and measuring and timing. And then it was going in on the specific timing. And it was taking, for some women, taking the meds, so you make more follicles is really, for me, it was stabilizing.
That's nice.
It felt good.
Right.
And I ended up making a lot of follicles. So yeah, like we had good communication. It was emotionally bonding for us. We felt supported through the process by the medical community. We were luckily able to afford it. So it was a very positive experience for us, I would say.
Yeah.
And then they put 2 in and 1 came out.
Okay.
So that was also good.
Yeah.
I was worried I was going to have
okay, so 2 embryos. Did you plan that initially?
So at the time, this was 15 years ago. So
Yeah.
I think the technology has evolved since then.
Totally.
I hear from some people. But at the time, because of my age and because of the health of the embryo, whatever, they felt like 2 gave us the best chance.
Okay.
And even though we didn't want twins, we were like, oh my God. Yeah. But it was no child or twins. We were like, okay, let's give it all the chances.
I see. I love it.
So, and then we have a picture of the 2 embryos. So we have a picture of my child as an embryo. I think it's so cool.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. That is so cool.
Yeah, so they put him in. And somehow, I think what they say is one metabolizes the other one.
Yeah.
And funny story about that, when Maya was little, she said, I ate my twin.
No way. Like unprompted?
No
way.
She heard the story, and this is how she reciprocated it to people. Yeah, I think she's an only child, and I think she really wanted to have a sibling at a phase in her life. And this is how she I ate my twin.
Oh my gosh, hilarious. So funny. Okay, so you go through this huge process, and then how was pregnancy for you? Did you feel good? Was it challenging? What was that feeling all about?
Pregnancy was healthy and really challenging for me.
Ooh, okay. Why?
I felt nauseous for 9 months, I would say. So pretty much from when the time I could feel or I knew that I was pregnant, I was nauseous and dreaming of the time that I wasn't. Now, it was also the kind of nausea that never gets alleviated. It's always just on the verge.
Oh.
And there were crazy things that made me nauseous, like spider webs, for example. Going through our garage, which felt dingy to me. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm nauseous.
Oh my God.
And I didn't have food cravings. I had food aversions. I couldn't really eat anything. Meat became, just any kind of meat became the most disgusting thing ever. And there was a period where I couldn't go into the kitchen because all the smells, or my shampoo and my conditioner all of a sudden had a smell I couldn't stand. Certain parts of my house I couldn't walk through. It was just this,
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Ugh.
And I developed, what is it called when you get dizzy?
Oh, vertigo.
I developed vertigo. Yeah, all of a sudden I'd get dizzy out of nowhere. Or, my husband would take turns, even in the front seat. If he was turning too much, I was like, stop it.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing, isn't it?
I know. It is. I had an aversion to seafood, which I think is very weird because I absolutely love all seafood. But and shrimp specifically, it took me months to even try another shrimp because it just stuck in my brain. You cannot eat this for some reason.
Isn't it just?
It's so weird. I know.
For a time, I could only eat white rice and
Mm-hmm.
tomatoes.
What a combo. I love it. Okay, so you're going through pregnancy and it's time for the baby to come.
Situation. Yeah.
Yes. How was your birthing process? Did you guys have a plan? Were you nervous at all? Did you feel really good? What was that story like?
I really wanted a natural birth.
Okay.
And so we went through a program actually that I didn't have an OB, I had a midwife.
Mm-hmm. I love
And
that.
we would meet monthly. It
Mm-hmm.
was partners, so
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't just the women. And we would meet and talk about our phases and talk about what we're doing. And there were things like I would measure my belly and write down the measurements myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is where we would practice some of these like birthing techniques. This is how you support her. This
Mm-hmm.
is what you touch. This is what you don't touch. Um, but it was all very on natural birth. And we did that intentionally, both Lenny and I did, because that whole you go for the tool that you're most comfortable with. And so if you know how to use a hammer, you use a hammer.
Right.
So OBs are trained to save the baby.
Mm-hmm.
They're not necessarily trained in the natural birth process and keeping the focus on that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we went with midwives, right? We
Mm-hmm.
still, like, this program was part of a hospital, and I birthed in a hospital. So if anything went wrong, they were very much equipped. But the focus, the cognitive focus was on, natural birth. And so
Wow.
I expect to have a natural birth, which I did.
Okay.
Well, okay. I mean, I guess everything's a natural birth, right?
Yeah.
Every way you birth is still natural.
Right. Exactly.
Did end up with an epidural.
Mm-hmm.
I was in labor for 24 hours,
Oh man.
and 12 of that was without an epidural. And then there was a point where I was like, I can't.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. I'm exhausted.
Yes.
And I just wanted to sleep,
Mm-hmm.
because like the contractions started at 9 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
So you go through the night,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no sleeping and by the morning I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I just need a little bit of rest and respite.
Oh man. Okay. And then once you got the epidural, were you like one of those that just like relaxed and then baby came, or were you able to kind of rest and then go from there?
Yeah. Before the epidural, I was on a ball, I was in a tub, and the tub, I watched these women give birth in tubs, and I was like, oh, this would be nice. But imagine like a really shallow apartment style tub that like barely covered my belly, and I was so cold. I was like, this is not
You're like, this is not it.
relaxing.
Yeah. This is not the romantic vision I had of like in a bath. Yeah.
And like getting into a bath was hard because you have this belly and you're contracting, and like getting into it was hard. And
Mm-hmm.
then the other thing I remember is I couldn't be like some women, and this is what we practice. They practice this being on a ball and like
Yes.
rolling around. I couldn't do that. That was so painful. The
Mm-hmm.
only thing I could do to bear my contractions is to be on my all fours.
Yeah.
That like helped a little bit. And I'm guessing if I didn't have an epidural, I probably would birth that way. Like I would probably be on all fours and they would catch the baby that way. But that's not what happened, because once you have an epidural, they flip you and you just do the regular thing. So 12 hours without any epidural or meds or anything. And then I got the epidural and things slowed down. They gave me a Pitocin and it became, that medical birth, if you will.
Yes. Yep.
They manage you. And then she came. I was able to rest on and off, so that was good.
Yeah.
And I was grateful for that. And there was, the midwives that I did the program with, they changed shifts because I was there for so long. But they would come and they were so supportive, just emotionally supportive.
Yeah.
I felt very there's a lot of feminine female energy. And I felt very, very loved and nurtured and supported through the process by these midwives.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, even as they were, giving me the meds, they weren't doing it. The other nurses were doing the meds and the managing of the stuff. And then I remember there was one nurse there. Because I was part of this program, usually the nurses and the midwives that staff patients that are in this midwife program are focused, their mindset is focused on supporting you through no med birth.
Right.
There was one nurse there. I don't know why, but she kept looking at me with this pity in her eyes, being like, "But you don't have to suffer. Oh, you can just." And I remember being like, "You're in my way, bitch.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a problem.
you are not aligned with me. This is a problem. Like, get her out. Like, I'm focused and you're creating problems for me." So I remember being that, and I don't remember when or if somebody from my husband did was like ask politely to move stage left. And then she wasn't part of the picture. And then I was like, okay, I'm too exhausted to give me the meds. And then Maya came 12 hours later. So she came at night, like right before going into night.
Oh my gosh. What a beautiful story.
Yeah, and it was good. I mean, the birth itself, like once you're dilated and the baby's coming, everything is very quick. And, like so many people entered the room and there's a team for the baby. There's a team for me. It was good instruction. I felt like my midwife gave me good instruction on what to do. And, because I couldn't fully feel it, like it was still like I understood what to do in order to put pressure to push the baby out. Lenny was next to me. I trusted the whole process. I trusted the people that were helping me, and then she was out and she was healthy. I was healthy. It was good. And then they like took her, I could see it. They took her and like wiped her and whatnot. And then they put her on my chest almost all the way, which is so special, right? It was so, I still remember that smell. I still remember that, like, yeah.
Oh, I know. There's like nothing like it.
It's, yeah. And then you're like, there's a baby where there was none. There's a human here now. And they're mine.
I know. I know. I know. It is so incredible. I just want to like thank you for sharing your story and thank you for remembering it because I know it's been a while. But I love hearing those moments. And something that you talked about was like the feminine energy in the room. And then also like the person that was maybe not on your level in the room.
Yeah.
I think that's just a good thing to call out because I think when we are in that moment, and granted, I'm not a birth worker, so I'm not live in front of births all the time. But what I hear from people that do share their story, there is this idea around just being really sensitive to the energy in the room. And you said the feminine energy. I was talking to a doula the other day, and she was like, there is this concept that there's a wise woman with you. So if anything were to stray or not be to your birth plan or support you, this like wise woman like speaks up. And it's so interesting because after she told me that, so many birth stories, there is like somebody mentions, oh, and then whoever was like the wise woman was there and gave like a message or steered it in the right direction. So that's really cool that that's how your birth kind of went.
Yeah. And you know what? You reminded me, I did have a doula as well.
Okay. Yeah. So was she like coaching you?
Yes and no. She was massaging me. She was relieving stuff. Like she was massaging my hips. She was massaging my hands. And this was really important. She was telling Lenny what to do.
Oh, yes. Oh my God. So important.
Yeah, because I think the guys, I mean, it's like they don't know what to do,
No.
right? They
Mm-hmm.
don't really know, even if you took the classes and whatever, like
Mm-hmm.
when you're in it, it's this huge thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so having the doula there, I think she's more supportive of him
Dude,
being that support of me, you know?
you're like, Lenny, here's your doula for the birth. And I'll focus on just giving birth.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he would like touch me a certain way. And when
Yeah,
you're in pain,
I know.
dude, and
Mm-hmm.
she'd teach him how to,
Mm-hmm.
so we could still feel that physical
Mm-hmm.
connection, right? Like she would say, not like this, but like that. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was really good. And then she took amazing pictures and videos. Amazing. So like when
Oh,
the hospital staff and we were in the thick of it, she had the eye for like the specialness and like the beauty of the experience. And so we have these like precious pictures and little videos. We have a video of the actual birth,
no
you
way.
know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's so cool. So
so
how
cool.
how often do you watch that video? Just curious. Curious.
We don't. I mean, we did
Yeah.
when she was little,
Yeah.
but not anymore, really. But it's
Mhm.
nice, it's nice to have that. And
Totally.
if Maya ever wanted to see it, it's there. Like her pictures in embryo, she
Mhm.
has,
Yeah.
and her real birth, she can see. Like she can see her
Mhm.
mother birthing her, which is
Mhm.
just so cool.
Oh my
And but
God,
it's
so
it's
beautiful.
it's not like on front shelf
Of
in my family room. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yes. Oh, I
It's an
love
if
that.
and when she wants to.
Yeah. Oh, what a powerful keepsake to have. I mean, both of those.
Yes.
Um, okay, so you have a healthy birth, healthy baby, and you move into postpartum. So talk to me about what the transition was being a mother.
Yeah.
And like how did that was it easy to kind of get into the flow? How were those first couple months? No, yeah.
For me, no. Uh, Postpartum was difficult
Okay.
because the very first stage is when you give birth, it's kind of like being run over by a train.
Yes.
It's a
At the bare
it's a
minimum.
big, yeah, it's a big experience for your body and mind,
Mhm.
like physically, mentally, spiritually. It's just this big thing. And I remember being really depleted, like there's not enough sleep. Even I felt behind, even from the fact that like I couldn't sleep all night and I was giving birth for
Mhm.
24 hours, right? Like I already was depleted. And then it's very physically demanding.
Mhm.
I wasn't the woman who was like 9 months pregnant lifting weights. Like that
Mhm.
was not me.
Mm-mm.
It was very physically demanding. And so I felt very physically depleted. And when you're physically depleted, kind of mental state goes with it, I think. And it never stops. Like the baby doesn't sleep at night. Your
Mhm.
body needs to make milk. They need to eat. You have to like care for somebody 24/7. And that's new. And so like together those things felt like and nobody really can do it. I have the help, but nobody can really do this part. Like nobody can recover for you. You have to do that.
Yeah.
And like normally when you go to surgery, for example, people dote on you. You
Mhm.
get to rest. People bring you food, they support you as you get out of bed. This is what happens when you give birth.
Mhm.
Like you go through this experience and you're giving
Mhm.
immediately.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you found that to be.
Totally. I mean, I just remember being for both of them, but specifically with my first, I literally was like, please take the baby. Like, I need to sleep. And we were in COVID. So they were like, no, baby has to stay with you. So, which of course is fine. And actually, now at that same hospital, but that's like very common practice. They don't have a nursery anymore. So I was just like, oh my gosh, can I please just get like 2 hours of sleep or something? But it was impossible. There was no recovery for me either. I mean, it was just, it's literally like taking to your max exhaustion and then adding like a whole nother layer to it. Yeah. There's nothing like it. I mean, it is so crazy.
Ready for that. Like I have never experienced that level of exhaustion and then having to keep going again. Like
I know. I know. I know. It's so hard. Were you working at the time? Like, were you on like a leave? Yeah.
I had a maternity leave. I think I have to, I can't remember which I was working, but I can't remember which company I was with. I was on maternity leave. And it's the other thing that, with this whole exhaustion
Yeah.
and with wanting to have a child and putting so much effort towards it, and with loving the experience now, I remember for about 4 months, and these 4 months came one a day at a time, I didn't feel emotionally bonded with her.
Okay, so talk to me about that because I feel like that is very common and no one really says a whole bunch about it.
Yeah, I think so too. And that's actually why I want to talk about it. I felt exhausted and I felt like I need to recover. And I felt an enormous sense of duty and responsibility because obviously this child is yours and like they will die.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I mean? It's like,
yeah, they cannot fend for themselves.
And so I was like, I'm going to do what I need to do and I will rally. But I felt sorry for myself. I felt so just like exhausted and pushed to the very edges of what I could do emotionally too. And I just had, I just had this being and I kept waiting every day. I would wake up and go, is today the day when I'm going to fall in love with her? Is today the day I'm going to fall in love with her? And until then, I remember just kind of waiting like, okay, well, this is what I need to do. I need to like just be super rational. Like I need to take care of myself. I need to take care of the baby. I need to, these are the things I got to do from my head before my emotions turn on. These are the things to do and just kind of waiting for it.
Interesting. So, that brings up the idea of this moment where there's a reason you feel that way, right? Because you had envisioned that you would immediately be like on it, like in love with her, enjoying this time. I mean, that's kind of what's presented to you. So then when it does not go that way, were you getting kind of those messages just from the world, or did you feel like it was through conversations with friends that had kids or family? Like what do you think kind of impressed upon you this kind of immediate, like loving, I don't know, cocoon of wonderfulness with babies?
It's probably how I felt around babies before and still feel around babies.
Yeah.
Like I'm in love with all of them. So I just thought this is what would happen. And when it didn't, it surprised me. But there was this calmness too. Like, it's just the drama of it all. Like, it's just that it's such an enormous experience. And don't panic, it'll all be okay. Like I still had my wits about me, just not emotionally, like, you know what I mean? And then it came. It's just like, I don't remember if it was like a slow thawing out or if it just hit me. But the more time I spent with her, the more like, they're just so cute. Like everything about them is just so, right? And the more you invest in your child, the more bonding happens, the more emotionally attached you become. And then when they start reciprocating, my God, it's over.
Yeah, totally. I know. So when you went through that experience And it sounds like you were aware that you were going through it. Because I think sometimes when you have those feelings, it's like, oh, I did have those feelings, but you have to retrospect. But you knew what was going on. Did you talk to anybody about it? Okay. Did you use formula at all or no?
I did not need to use formula, but I did supplement with my friend's milk.
Oh, okay. Talk about that. How do you
Yeah,
even
so,
like get to that point?
right? So she had twins
Okay.
and they were 4 or 6 months at the time,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere around there. And she had so much milk. She had a ton of milk. And I was like, I don't know if it's enough. Um, she is a nurse and she already had, the twins were her two and three.
Okay.
It wasn't her first rodeo.
Yeah.
And so she ended up given birth 5 times. So that's why I was like, where are
Oh
they?
my gosh. Okay.
Okay. Um, but she was like, okay, she said for herself, she's like, I didn't have milk come in and this is what you need to do, blah, 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 blah. She's like, but in the meantime, you can have my milk because I have a lot of it and I have twins. And so I would supplement at the breast, put the milk into this little container. This is what my husband held up.
Mm-hmm.
And then a little tube, and that would come up to my nipple, and then my child would suckle both. So it still stimulated milk production and then gave her a little bit more so she would sleep longer. So I did that. How I thought of it because of my friend.
Wow. That is so amazing. And what a gift for her and for you.
Such a gift. And let me tell you this, fast forward, there Maya and Elena, which is one of the twins, are besties.
Oh my God, stop. That's so cute. I love it. That's so
So sweet.
sweet. So, okay, that's a very tender time.
Yeah, I think that communication and reliance on your partner is super important.
Mm-hmm.
I think also the realization that they don't know what they're doing
Mm-hmm.
and they feel like they're on, you know, like they're trying to support you. I'm assuming in this context that your partner loves you and has your best interests in mind and is completely, but even if that's the case, they don't know what they're doing and they're
No.
in this like high pressure. So I would say maybe even get help around that. Like they talk about doulas for the women, but I don't know if there's such a thing as like a doula for the couple in this
Yeah.
context, right?
Yeah.
So that like you can both be supported in this newness of it. Everything feels dire in this situation. So if you can be around people who can alleviate that anxiety for you, who are like, I know this is what it feels like, but I'm ahead of you and I got you. It's like, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is where like moms
Mm-hmm.
probably are key,
Mm-hmm.
where they can come in. I mean, I know my mom and Lenny's mom were there, but it depends on what dynamic you have. I have a more of a caretaker dynamic. Like I take care of other people.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of the times it was like I didn't want my mom there for my birth. Sorry, mom, if you're ever going to listen to this. Because I didn't want her to worry. I didn't want
I
her,
know.
like I wanted the space for whatever was going to come up and I didn't want to worry about her
Yes.
worrying about me. So so for me, it was important just to have my husband, and we didn't even tell people when we like went to the hospital. We're just like,
Oh, I
it's
love it.
happening. I mean, because it was for such a long time, and we ended
Yeah.
up, but it was like a right away, everybody on standby,
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, surround yourself with people that feel like, regardless of what their actual role is in your life, but they need to feel like they're creating that nurturing, anxiety alleviating space for both of you, or for all three of you, or for whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
The new family.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be super, super helpful. Um, And that whole like sleep when the baby sleeps and da 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 da. I don't know if it wasn't feasible for me because adult life still goes on,
Mm-hmm.
you know? But if you do feel, because it's a time of so many hormones for the
Yes.
woman, if you do feel that in love feeling, that oxytocin overwhelms you, don't worry about the adult life. Like sit there and drink your baby.
Oh, I know. It goes so fast. It's so funny because I got that advice too. Like, hey, like sleep when the baby sleeps. And I don't, for the people that live by that advice, way to go. I wish I could have done that. That is not what I did. But I did cry when the baby cried. Like, totally. I was like, I can't sleep when the baby sleeps, but I will cry when that baby cries because this is crazy. Like
Yeah.
there's no way around it. With that like intensity.
I remember, so like that whole cry when the baby cries, it's actually really wise, I think, because
Okay,
we
right.
are so pumped with all
Mm-hmm.
these hormones and all these changes are happening, right? And it's very emotionally overwhelming. And if you are at all a woman who is like, take life by the balls kind of woman, and,
Yeah.
then you're suppressing it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's super important to express and to cry. And so I remember I would have these like moments of melancholy, and like at one point I just started crying. So I'm nursing my child. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sitting on the floor in our living room. Lenny just started a fire in our living room and I am bawling. I'm bawling just in this whole context because I'm like, I felt turned inside out. I'm like, I'm so vulnerable. There's
Yeah.
this little baby here. I am in this like, what is that's happening to me? So it's like this romantic setting, right? The fire's crackling in our family room. My child's on my boob, and my husband just started this fire and is creating this safe little environment for us. And I felt overwhelmed with emotion, and it was every emotion I could feel.
Right.
It was love, it was vulnerability, it was melancholy, it was feeling sorry for myself, it
Mm-hmm.
was feeling so big and overwhelmed at this whole experience that I've been through and like how different my life is and who am I now? And I let it rip. I was like,
Yeah.
so I'm glad you did too.
Oh yeah. 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 Sleep when the baby sleep doesn't quite work. Cry when the baby cries. I'm here. I'm here for that all day long. Okay, if you were to look back at that time and see Mila pre-kid going through all the things, what type of advice would you give that version of you?
It's always an interesting question. Like, what would you say? I never know what to say to the younger me because I feel like I did it all right.
I love it. That's great.
Right? Like, I felt very present and understood what was happening for me at the time. I was focused on what was important to me at the time. In the I would still tell myself at the time I felt like child, no child, my life goes on and I'm okay with it. I
Mm-hmm.
would say that's great. Maybe what I would say is you will have a child and it will be the most amazing experience of your life,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to be there for all of it.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So she's 15.
She's 15.
I can't believe
She's
she's
a nice,
15. I can't believe she's in
crazy,
high
right?
school.
Because you met her when she was 6 or 7.
Oh, God. I mean, I think earlier than that because I've been around for like almost 13 years. So she was little.
She was so little. Yeah. So she was
Mm-hmm.
a baby.
Yeah,
Crazy.
I know. I know. So crazy. So sweet. Um, okay. So you go through this moment and then how do you enter back into the world? What was that moment for you? Or did you have any moment where you're like, oh, I'm finally me again, or this version of me? Like what was that trajectory like for you?
I didn't feel like I went back to a previous version of me. I felt like I
Okay.
grew into a new version of me.
Yeah.
Um, and I also remember, I don't remember chronologically exactly, but I remember having these thoughts like I've always worked in technology. And for a time, I worked in like a software engineering firm full of young dudes, like just out of college
Mm-hmm.
dudes. And then the senior people were also mostly dudes. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
how am I going to pump?
Ugh.
Where am I going to go? They didn't have a mother's room. It
Right.
was
Of
like a
course.
small, and I was like, where am I going to go? This is when I was pregnant, I think. And of course, it all worked out because by the time I needed to pump and I was back at work, I was working for a different company and I was working from home.
Oh,
And
nice.
so I didn't even need to pump. I would just stop and go nurse her.
Yeah.
And
Great.
and it was like big deal. And then when it was time for me to go back, I think it was a 3 month maternity leave. I don't remember exactly. We got a nanny who came into the house.
Mm-hmm.
So I was always here. The nanny was always there. I could always just stop and, feed the baby whenever I needed to. I could like just come and say hello. I could hear them. The child didn't need to leave. So it was like perfect. It
Mm-hmm.
ended up being like a really great setup, but I was really worried about it.
Oh my gosh. I mean, of course. Yes, of course. Did you have any moment where, for anyone that's like in that world right now, was there a timeline that you felt that you were like, oh, good, I'm feeling good again? Or was it just kind of like a slow, progressive type of a thing?
I never wanted to be away from her ever. Like I wanted to
Oh,
take her everywhere.
oh, that's so
You
cute.
know, so I never felt like, oh, I'm ready to leave my baby. But I never needed to because I worked from home,
Yeah.
and then by the time I was like, oh, she's really ready to socialize.
Mm-hmm.
It was more about her. I'm like, oh, okay. Then we put her for part-time out where there were other children.
Mm-hmm.
I never felt like for me I was sort of just back to working, and
Mm-hmm.
because it was from home, and for a lot of people, COVID was the time where they realized what it was like to work from home.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked from home in my career a lot, almost
Yeah.
always.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like a normal thing for me
Mm-hmm.
to in an office work from, like, this is an
Mm-hmm.
office and I work from here.
Right.
I don't work from anymore, but this setup has always been the case, having an office in my house. And so it was just like I was back in my life
Mm-hmm.
and I had a child who was near my heart physically.
Mm, that is so
So it was
sweet. Okay, so um talk about how motherhood had, or if it has, changed or grown in, or have you had to mother differently depending on what stage Maya has been at?
yeah. So yeah, parenting teenagers
Mm,
is different than parenting babies, is different than parenting young children,
mm-hmm.
for sure. For sure. As a baby, you are really just supporting survival,
Mm-hmm.
right? And learning, it's like basic things. You're
Mm-hmm.
learning how do they express themselves? What do they want? You're guessing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're getting good at, right? When they're young children, then you're starting to communicate back and forth. You're learning the communication styles. You're like learning their personality. You're learning where and what you could steer and shape versus which is innate to them. And you're like creating that different kind of bond. As a teenager, they're largely shaped.
Mm-hmm.
Like what I focus on now is staying really close to her thinking process,
Okay.
right? Like staying close to how are you making meaning? What are you questioning? What are your interests? What are your curiosities? What are your heartbreaks? And so that she keeps me, not so much that I have to push,
Mm-hmm.
but that she keeps the door open so that I can continue to give her insights and information that she can incorporate into her, into her being, into her life, right? Like, so I stay close to make sure that I'm that guide, I'm that support system, but she's leading now.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. So what is that like? Like, what do you need to do? What do you do to
Yeah.
like go through those phases? Because I literally cannot imagine. I can't imagine.
Okay, so again, it's a partnership, right? Like she
Yeah.
has a dad, we're part of a family.
Right.
So we had to grow. We've had to think about what does it mean to be a family. We had to be intentional. We had to have these conversations,
Wow.
literally.
Wow.
Like we've had to say, okay, we are like in corporations, you have their, values and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
We've had to do that. What are our family values?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like time together is one of our family values for all three of us.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, she had to sort of, she's still learning to internalize that because she's a teenager and her friends and that's a big priority.
Right.
And we're like, we get that, but Sunday nights is our family night.
Mm-hmm.
And even if there's conflict there for all of us sometimes, right? This is what our priority is because it's important to invest in the people that you love, including your parents.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
So that's one example, but we had to come to that. Like we've had to be like, oh, everything is so chaotic. Like what do we do? How do we root ourselves as a family? So that was one thing. For a while, she loves to cook.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a little bit too much for her to like come up with a menu, go grocery shopping, and then execute it. And so we signed up for, I can't remember, but one of those like services.
Oh yeah.
Where,
It like gets delivered to you, like all the things get delivered. Yeah.
yes. So either she or together we would pick the meals
Mm-hmm.
and then they would deliver the ingredients and then she would cook for us. So that was like the thing every
Yeah.
Sunday.
Oh
And
my
it
God,
allowed her to feel like she's contributing to the family, like she's part of the team,
mm-hmm.
right? And she's doing something she likes, and then we all enjoy it. We can talk about what we liked and what we don't like, because we all actually like food.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's one thing. We've always focused on having alone time together. So like I've had Mama and Maya time and we would go to museums or we would go to sculpture gardens or we would go to the park or it was like our time together. And Lenny and her they took swimming lessons and I don't like the pools. So I would cheer. Yay, good for you guys. I'm glad you're in there. And now, I don't know. I mean, as you know, I'm doing my weightlifting thing, but her and Lenny go to the gym together and she loves it. She loves CrossFit. So like, this is what they do. They go to CrossFit together. And he was on a business trip the other day and I took her. I don't go with her, but I took her. And on the way back, she's driving now. And she's like, oh, I miss Papa. Because it's their thing we used to do. It's less now. But she still likes it when I put her to sleep. Like she falls asleep better if I'm next to her. For a long time, that was a big tradition, like putting her to sleep, Mama and Maya bedtime. And that's when everything comes out.
You know of course. I mean?
Like you listen, it's.
I love
she
that.
still sleeps with either one of us if we're out of town. Like she'll sleep with me or she'll sleep. It's less and less, right? Like. But it's still there. And when she needs that emotional comfort, if she needs to offload anything, if she's confused, if she's trying to, it's Mama and Papa. It's still, and we cherish that. It's this nice little play between independence, but it's very, the thing that I would say is it's very conscious. It's looking at my child and being like, how can I support you to be the best, happiest, most resilient being that you can be, right? With all of my wisdom and all of my experience. I'm like, how is it? But the focus is on how can I give my gifts to her, right? And how can we as parents give our gifts to her? So it's not so much molding and twisting and like doing something to her, but like, what can we surround her with so that her path is hers and easier and full of wisdom and full of feeling like she's not alone.
That is so beautiful. Yeah, I would imagine that would be how you would want any teenager to fill. So that is really
She
wise.
says, I talked to her, I asked her, you get the feedback, right? And she says it too. Like she says she feels loved. She says she feels supported. She says things. And this is the best, I think, compliment a teenage parent can say is, you're the best mom ever.
It's so
It's like,
sweet.
I just dropped her off at a birthday party for a friend. And it was like, I don't know, it looked like 100 girls to me.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, a whole bunch of them, like a river of these girls, wanted to come and hug me and say hello to me. And I was like shocked and overwhelmed. I was like, me? You want to hug me? Yes, I love that. But somehow it's translating into her friends too, which I love.
Oh my God. That's so special. Yeah, that's very, very sweet. Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay. I want to talk about what you're doing. And it all kind of ties together because we're on this like evolution. And I think what I want to say, which is I think what you're doing is so cool. It is so inspiring to me personally. It makes me like want to work harder, want to be better. Like I love it to see you do this. So can you talk about like what you're doing now, what the journey is, how you got there? Because I think that is so inspiring.
So I'm 48 and I've always been health conscious. Like, I think it really matters. Physical, I remember hearing this in like seventh grade, I think. You don't have you, when you don't feel well physically, you can't feel as good mentally. And that really stuck with me, right? So I've always been focused on the physical. But life is life and other priorities come in. And so I, about a year ago, I got laid off from my most recent corporate job and I found myself with the space, right? And then I was like, well, what do I do? I was in a meditation and this idea just literally came to me. I could see myself with a bunch of muscles. And so right then I was like, okay, I'm going to do a bodybuilding show.
So you're getting this message, and then what is like the next step?
Yeah. So, it's like these visuals and the sense of like, I could feel myself in this really strong body. And I'm like, and I could see myself on stage. I could feel myself on stage. And I've never, even though I've been in the gym and I work out, I was already working out at the time. I was with a trainer and everything. But this idea of going on stage was like, what? It surprised me too. But it felt right. And I guess I have two filters. Does it feel right? And does it feel exciting? Even if it's scary, right? And it felt right and exciting. And like, yeah, it was weird, maybe not exactly aligned with, and a little bit scary and exciting. And so I was like, okay, well, fine. I'll just consider it a soul's little bell calling, and I'm going to go in that direction. And then the next step was to find a trainer, to find a coach. And I was really focused on this idea of finding a female coach because I think that as women, our hormones are different. I am postmenopausal at the time now. And so I just knew everything would be different. And I didn't want a guy because of that reason. And then another reason was it's really vulnerable. Like, I have to send her pictures of myself.
Oh,
and
interesting.
videos.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that is.
And so it's really vulnerable. It's really like it's a really inside out kind of a process. And I don't know if it's always visible to people. It's all my fears come out, all of my insecurities come out, all of my doubts, ambitions, it all like it's a full mind, body, spirit experience. Right. And I say this to Lenny and he could argue. He's like, you could argue everything is It's true, but it's also very physical. Like you're pushing yourself physically as well. You're restricting your food. You are, you know, and you're restricting my life too. Because, for example, I was invited to do a girls' trip with Maya and her friends and some moms, and I've had to say no because it wouldn't align with my training
Right.
for the summer. So it's like, and that's also partially why I did it as well. So it's not so much vanity, right? Like you
Mm-hmm.
get the physical outcome,
Mm-hmm.
and I love it and I take it. And the physical has both the strength and the vanity part for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, love it.
But also there's this character building that's happening. Because
Mm-hmm.
as I'm going through this process, I am seeing myself in the current
Mm-hmm.
moment. I'm seeing all the struggles, and I get to choose an approach. Like, how do I go through that?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so, in that way, it's really, it's like a phoenix. It's really leveling and rebuilding and sort of this process. It's like this, even though I'm working towards a goal, which for me, it's really important to have a goal too, because
Mm-hmm.
day to day, we can be, I'm like everyone else, right? Like, I don't feel like it
Of
today.
course.
And I
Yeah.
want that treat, right? And so having that long-term goal organizes everything else, focuses me, it works for me. And it's an inside out process. It is character building. It is know thyself kind of experiment. And it's also really vulnerable, because at the end of it all, I shared this on my story, like you're pretty much naked. It's like a thong
Yeah.
and filled with triangles,
Right.
and you're on stage
Right.
and people are judging you.
Yeah.
Like they're not just looking at you they're judging you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really and that's what I want. I want to have enough of that like character strength,
Mm-hmm.
right? To where I know who I am, I know what I want. And I have that to some degree. This is like strengthening that.
Mm-hmm.
This is leaning into it even more, which I will tell you comes in midlife.
Well, that's what
There's this
that's what I
arrow.
was going to say because I am turning 42 in September, which feels so weird even coming out of my mouth. Like I don't even know what I just said. But there,
Welcome.
thank you. I do feel this, I do feel a sense of urgency around, okay, I have done all these things and now it's like a now or never type of sense that I have. That's okay, now or never. Like now is the time. If I want to live and I have baby kids. If I want to live until, they potentially have their kids, I'm going to have to do a lot of things right now. And for whatever reason, this decade feels like a little like you have to be a little fearless, and there is like this sense of urgency that I don't know how to other than to say it's now or never. So when I see you, Mila, take this on and be like, hey, I'm 48, I am going to do this because of one, all of these benefits, but then also like to pick up a challenge, because how easy would it be just to like sit and enjoy and ride this out? But you're saying like, no, I'm going to try this really crazy thing that is so scary on lots of different levels and do it. That is what I find so incredibly inspiring, because I think too, as I've entered this decade, and I will tell you, my 41, those birthdays were really hard for me, like mentally, to be like, oh my gosh, what is happening? Who am I? The blah, 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 all the things. Very, very challenging. And so I think that's also why I just like love seeing you win, because it's so exciting to know that it's not the end. You're not like folded up and put into the corner. There's still lots of life and experiences and possibilities to live.
And vibrancy. Yeah. And this
Yes.
is the new phase, right? And I think your crisis, your now or never, came earlier than mine.
Mm-hmm.
Like 47, none of my birthdays were hard for me.
Mm-hmm.
47, I didn't even think about it. And then 48 hit me like that, where I was like, I don't have that many summers and winters. And, it's
Wow.
like anything that I have swept under the rug, it's now or never.
Yeah.
Anything. It doesn't have like anything that, any dynamic, any friendship, any promise to myself, anything that I thought was important but was on the back burner. I'm like, the urgency is dialed up for sure. And also because I have this desire, like you said, like the next 50, it's
Yeah.
going to be different.
Yeah.
Sure. But it's going to be full of life. It's going to be full of vibrancy. It's still, there was this point of what now? Like this almost like a burial of the, because all these things are in my rearview mirror.
Mm-hmm.
The house,
Mm-hmm.
the college degree, the career. I've even had a business,
Yeah.
there's the child, like there's so, and child is 15 now. All of a sudden I'm like, I have 3 years left and she's out of the house.
Right.
So there's all these things that for a long time you kind of look forward to them and you build your life with goals that are ahead. And then at 48, I was like, wait a minute, how did they get behind me?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, they're there. Like, what happened? I've been married for 22 years. My child is 15.
I
I'm
know.
like, I don't understand. Yeah, and there's something inside of me that died, and I had to rebirth the new me. I had to give a vision to the new me, right? And I'm still in process, but it's a lot more alive now this way. Like, what are the next goals, right? And they're different because I don't want another house. I don't want another marriage. I don't want, they're
Right.
just different.
Right. Right. That is crazy. Okay, can you tell me more? This is like such a horrible question, but can you talk more about that? Because I think that's really interesting. And when you're saying things like wish by, I hear you. Like I feel like that too. And you talk about what is this new or next vision? What got you to think that that had to happen? And then what kind of steps are you taking to fight for that vision?
Yeah. So it was literally like waking up one day at 48, somewhere around my birthday,
Mm-hmm.
and being like, now what?
Mm-hmm.
Like all the things that, and some people don't have ideas for what they want in the futures. I always did.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, wait a minute, my bucket list, like I've done it. I've done it.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this emptiness.
Mm-hmm.
There was this like, well, what, I didn't have a next me. And so I was like, well, I guess it's time to create it. Because I didn't want, again, like those things that were in my rearview mirror, they were done. I've already done that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not like I just wanted more of that. Like I don't want to buy more houses. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to buy more purses. I don't want more children. I don't want another husband. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. You're like, we did these really big things, okay? Like we don't need more of them.
And now what? And there really wasn't a lot of societal examples
Yes. Okay, say
of
more
like,
because I'm right there with you.
yeah, of like what happens in the next stage of life other than just withering away, raising grandchildren maybe, and then dying. And I'm like, those are not good enough goals for me. They don't excite me. I mean, they're going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not a focus. Like it's not vibrant and it's not exciting. And then I'm like, I'm still young, really.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, okay, well, I had to create new visions. And this is where I had to be like, well, what's been under the rug?
Mm-hmm.
Right? How can my marriage dynamic change? And what is my partner ready for? Which he wasn't. I'm always pushing him and he's always kicking and screaming into whatever next phases. He's always like, okay, now what? It's one of the things I've been telling Maya is you are not going to come home from college to the house, on breaks to the house that you grew up in. Like, you need to start getting ready for this idea because we're going to sell the house once we graduate, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things we talked about with Lenny, and it's still being shaped, but
Yeah.
the idea is to maybe buy like one of those Winnebagos and just travel.
Cute. I love that.
Hey, I'm switching. So I've now decided to put an end to trying to make it in corporate, and I am moving into a career as a performance coach, life coach, positive mindset coach. I'm still figuring out exactly what my niche is going to be, and I'm thinking it'll be women in midlife because it's more of what I know and understand. But I'm not convinced yet because what's coming to me is like I'll tell people that I meet at retreats, for example, and they're young men and they're like, oh, I want to, like, I need that.
Mm-hmm.
I want that. So I'm like, maybe I understand something transcendental, something human, and it's not just about the women in middle ages, right? Even though marketing tells you to niche down.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't like figured it out yet. But I went through training in peak performance, neuroscience, peak performance for flow state.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing I'll be doing. And then also positive intelligence, which is knowing and understanding your saboteurs and how do you transition to a sage mind so that you can approach life differently.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's what being in the next 50 is about. It's being sage. It's maybe not these big ambitious goals anymore, but it's how I bring myself and how I interact with my day to day. And so it's all about like rebirthing is what it feels like. Just like the inside out, bringing out wiser, bringing out softer, bringing out more feminine aspects of me. Need to know them. And that reshapes everything too, even my relationship with my husband, because it's a new me.
That is incredible. I mean, again, how inspiring. I'm so proud of you. That is just such a feat in general.
Thank you. I think that we all go through it.
Yeah.
I don't know if people are all equipped to sort of mind the depth of it,
Yes.
the depth of the experience, right? It takes a lot of introspection to interact with this at the level that we can. And I think a lot of people kind of don't want to. It's not, it's an inside out thing.
Well, I love that you're talking about like this evolution for you as a rebirth, because when you talk about birth, we know it has to happen, right? And it does not feel good. It does not feel good at all. And sometimes the worst part is right before the
Yes.
thing appears. So I love that. I'm just going to be selfish right now. I love that I get to see that in you. It's very exciting. And I think this idea of going for it and digging through the tough stuff, I don't think we talk about it. We know people are going through phases. We are friends with people that are sharing, like, a divorce, big deal. Your child graduating, empty nesting, big deal. Menopause, big deal. Like, things are happening. But this idea of let's share in the challenging piece of that, I think takes such determination. I will tell you, there is few and far between that I know of that are taking this kind of like next moment so seriously. So when you are talking and you're like, hey, and this is me interpreting it, I'm gonna like kick it off with bodybuilding. Like and it is, you're right. You're like literally taking to the extreme. You're like, I'm not just gonna keep it mental. I'm gonna go all the way in. Like submerge yourself in all of those things. And some of the lessons that you are learning. What would you tell somebody in their early 40s, or what would you tell somebody that's maybe feeling the itch or the scratch but doesn't know quite what to do next? What kind of advice would you give?
You are very kind to ask me for advice.
Of course.
I think that we're all in the thick of it at all times. I think that people, especially people who are conscious, who are paying attention to their experience, who are trying to interpret it, who are trying to grow and become continuous growth and expansion. They're always in the thick of it. And I think that maybe finding somebody who you feel is a little bit ahead of you, right? And asking for like, what was that like for you? And what would you do? And I guess this is what you're asking me.
Yes. So share all the wisdom, Mila. We're all listening. We're on edge.
I don't know if I have, it's so much pressure. Have good people around you. Surround yourself with people that feel, and this is I think is important. It's not what it looks like, because we can look around and there are amazing families and it looks all beautiful and da da da. I think it's much more important to know what it feels like to you, right? Do you feel supported by your husband, even if he's doing all the right things? Do you feel supported by your mother, by your friends? Like, what does your life feel like to you? So my advice is to pay attention to what it feels like. And then work to know how to ask for what you need without demanding it. That's not easy.
Ooh, what's an example? You're right. That is not easy.
When we come into, so an example from my own life. When I opened Pinot's Palette, Maya was 6 years old. And my husband was always supportive. He's always supportive, right? We got into so many fights because there's a lot of other things that happened in life, like a lot of other things that demanded my time. And I ended up like sleeping for 4 hours. Like when I say other things, my mom got sick.
Yes.
My nephew had problems. Lenny had heart surgery. I had to have a hysterectomy. Like there were so many things that were concentrated, and my child was like 6 to 10. You know, it was just this huge thing. So anyway, and I was working to start a business. So my husband he was always there. He would show up. He would do the right things. He would work the bar. He would paint the tables. He would take the child. But I think there was so much pressure on him that he emotionally checked out. He just did the right things. And then we would fight because he felt like he lost his partner emotionally. We didn't have the language. We didn't have like the understanding of what was really missing. And it was like, but everything's there. Like I am being supported. I am showing up, right? And so fast forward to now, what I was really asking him for is to feel. And to literally feel, to be like, if he missed me, to freaking let me show that he missed me, to be in that messiness together, right? Like, I know this sucks right now, but I miss you so much, instead of being like, I do everything for you and you're not here. Like, that's what I mean, asking. So like now I have the language, I have the notions in my mind to be like, oh, but how do you feel? And then we meet. Does that make sense?
Yeah, those are some really incredible nuggets. And I think some of the things that you're saying that I just want to really drive home that are like hitting me hard is this idea of paying attention, because it is really easy to get into a routine or a mindset or something that may not be of best benefit for you, or maybe it was, but maybe it needs to change, like something along those lines. So to pay attention, I love that. The other thing that you have said a couple times is like being purposeful. And, that comes along with paying attention, but I think it has a little bit of action behind it, which I love. Like, you can pay attention, but
Yeah.
you got to like do the action to make the change. And then it's so powerful to talk about how you feel. And when you say, like, hey, I want to get in touch with like my softer pieces, my feminine energy, like that idea of like feeling something, not just looking at it, not just checking off the boxes, not just doing, what the world is saying, but like feeling into things, I think is such a powerful thing to talk about. And it sounds so easy and simple, but it really isn't. How did you
Oh,
come to that? Because I think that is just incredibly wise and so insightful.
I think that I've always been a feeling person.
Mm-hmm.
Feelings. So I do a lot of learning, a lot of listening. One of my biggest strengths is learning. I just, if I'm curious, I have a lot of curiosities and I just go and I learn, and I listen to people. And some of it is just enough time with this stuff, right? And you just come
Mm-hmm.
to it. This is the advantage of being older person. You just have enough time with stuff to bat it around, have conclusions, test it out and whatnot. So I've always been a feeling person, but I've been the let's get on this train,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, and I think I heard this from Teal Swan. She said, emotions are like you've got a message. It's like a ding,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we confuse the ting with the message itself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've spent a lot of time trying to decipher what are my emotions? What's really underneath here? What am I feeling? Why am I feeling it? What's the need behind it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how do I approach the communication of it so it's not a
Mm-hmm.
demand? Because the demand brings in a lot of judgment for yourself and a lot of judgment for the other. And then it just puts people on defensive and on edge. And then you're like tugging away instead of collaborating. So it's just a lot of learning, but some of it comes from a methodology, the positive intelligence methodology that I've learned with the coaching. And
Mm-hmm.
there's just literal daily practice on paying attention and how to convert anything that doesn't feel good into a gift or opportunity. And there's different techniques to do, both when you're in the thick of it and as like a preventative, you know, sort of training your muscles, mental muscles, to not go into the dumps and to saboteur kind of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but to look for the gift and opportunity and everything, and to have enough charge, enough energy, enough positivity within you to thrive in that.
I think one of the things that, and how hard, like it's beautiful. It's so hard. The two words that haunt me and have always haunted me, and that I am trying to shed light on the positivity to, is the word messy and the word chaos. Like, just, I absolutely can't stand that. So when you look at where the magic comes from or your growth comes from, it's from the messy and it's from the chaos. And it doesn't stop really. Really, it just is like, it's like the next thing and then the next thing. So I love this idea of like kind of going through the messy together, or going through the messy
Yeah,
looking for the gifts and the opportunity.
and I like have goosebumps when you say that.
Mm-hmm.
It's mental resilience, right? And I've looked for it my whole life, and it's this ability to withstand the what felt like something that's just going to crush you before.
Right.
It is so empowering.
Mm-hmm.
So empowering. And that is my era right now. It's like, I am done being crushed, right? I am done.
Yes.
It's about that mental resilience. It's about, there's so much beauty, there's so much vibrancy, there's so much opportunity in life. And because I don't have that much of it left, and I have my, check boxes back there, it opened up a space.
Wow. And I feel like some people would look at that space and fall in despair.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, for sure. And some people do, right? And
Yep.
I mean, I don't mean to preach, but I believe that we're all in some spectrum of development and growth. And this is where I also believe that we're bigger than our physical bodies, and there is a soul and source. And, there's a bigger philosophy that I personally believe in. And so I would say that everybody is where they're at for their own reasons. I do believe in agency. I do believe in soul agency. And so I'm like, yeah, and maybe because despair, if you think about despair, there's a comforting piece to it. It's about being sad. It's about being collapsed within yourself. And it's being very focused inward. And there could be a benefit to that as well, right? So, we're all where we need to be. But if you are in despair and you're ready to come out of it, just look for the helpers. Like what we tell children, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look for the helpers. Oh,
Mila, so freaking amazing. I'm crying. And I think that's really exciting. And I think you're doing that too, just by showing up and like sharing. It's like, you're like, I can say this small thing. I'm preparing for like a bodybuilding show, but like the iceberg that's like behind that is out of this world. And like, that is what is so important to share.
yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. It's on the surface. It's like at a high school. You know what I mean?
Totally.
There's nothing huge about this experience other than the iceberg, like you talk about. And also, I will say this because this is the context is mothering, right? I always hear people talk about the fact that we leave ourselves at the door when we become mothers.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there's a natural, beautiful part to that. Like, I think for a time, exploring motherhood as the it role and freaking diving into it, if that's your calling, is tremendous and beautiful and amazing. And that role will end.
Yes.
And there's more to every woman that is also a mother than being a mother.
And we need to put that on repeat.
Yeah. It's like, it's not, and in my mind, like the conversation, if it's ever an or conversation, it's not a complete conversation. It's a yes and conversation. The mothering for me, and I think it has an opportunity for everybody to open up my heart and pull out all of these other gifts, right? And so I think there's I need to dive into that as well, and not to stifle, I'm only going to talk about diapers. Yeah, freaking talk about just diapers if that's your season. Talk about your little teeth that are coming out. It's just amazing. It's amazing. Right? And then you won't talk about that anymore. So don't stifle it when it's the season for that.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love it. And such a good reminder. Thank you so much, Mila.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to It's a Circus. If today's episode made you feel a little less alone, share it with a friend who might need it too. We are building something amazing at the Turner Brothers Circus, an entire space designed for parents to find connection, laughter, and support. I'd love for you to be a part of it. Remember, you're doing better than you think. Stay grounded, stay real, and embrace that beautiful mess. And as always, the show must go on. Until next time.